Turning now to President Trump's public feud with Pope Leo. The president told CBS News senior correspondent Norah O'Donnell that he had been watching her 60 Minutes report, which highlighted the pontiff's disapproval of mass deportations, before he then lashed out at the Pope on Truth Social. And that's not all the president had to say.
I asked President Trump whether he thinks Pope Leo, the first U.S.-born pope, will come to America during his presidency. And President Trump told me, I have no idea. That's up to him.
Yesterday, the president also told senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang he was surprised by the backlash over the AI image he posted on Sunday night and deleted yesterday that depicted himself as a Jesus-like figure.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with Red Cross.
All right, CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay is traveling with the Pope in Algeria.
Good morning. What stands out about this moment isn't just that a president and a pope are at odds. It's that the two most important Americans in the world have such dramatically different visions of power. President Trump is framing the clash in political terms: strength, security, national interest. Pope Leo is saying the opposite, that he is not a politician and that his message is rooted in the gospel. Blessed are the peacemakers. There have been tensions before. In the 1990s, Pope John Paul II disagreed with different presidents over abortion and the use of force in Iraq. Serious but measured disputes. Things began to change in 2016. Amid the backdrop of President Trump's immigration policy, Pope Francis said building walls was not Christian, prompting Donald Trump to call that criticism disgraceful. But even that exchange unfolded more cautiously. What's different now, as one Vatican expert told me, is how visceral and public this has become and how quickly it's escalated. Pope Leo responded to the president within hours, before even landing here in Algeria. That immediate timing suggests Pope Leo sees this not as a distraction, but as central to his message. One powerful American doubling down on peace, while the other powerful American fights a war. Back to you.
All right, Chris Livesay reporting from Algeria. Thank you.
CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us now from our D.C. bureau. All right, Olivia, how is the White House explaining both this controversial AI image that we mentioned, as well as President Trump's feud with the Pope? Because I'm thinking about in the background of this, you know, the Republican base is very Christian.
Yeah, it's a good question, especially to the base. But President Trump really doubled down on his feud with the Pope. He said that the Pope is wrong, that he should not be wading into U.S. politics, while at the same time admitting that he was the one who posted that photo of him, that doctored, controversial artificial intelligence laden image of him as what he thought was a doctor. That is what he told our Weijia Jiang, although many people said, looks awfully a lot like Jesus and Christ-like in that photo. But notable, but the president said he took that down. Vice President Vance yesterday was on Fox News, where he said it was a joke that some people misunderstood. That's why the president took it down. But still, it had a lasting impact with people. Take a listen to what some young Catholics told us yesterday on the streets of New York.
The religion and the politics have to be completely separated.
It's terrible. It's gross. It's blasphemous.
You're messing with the Pope. Can't do that. Totally atrocious.
Now, to the question about erosion with the Christian base, it's less about that and more of the fact that this is a distraction for voters who are focused on the economy. White House officials have been trying to hammer home talking about the economy, especially this week, because this is tax week. And the president had a lot of tax initiatives that got passed in major legislation last summer. And Americans are feeling the impact of that, feeling those refunds, tax refunds. But the messaging is off. Even yesterday, we saw video of a DoorDash driver going to the Oval Office in a political stunt. The reason why they did that was because they wanted to talk about President Trump's no tax on tips policy. But it was completely overshadowed by this issue with the Pope, the photo that he posted. And that's really what the conversation was yesterday, and less about his tax policy. White House officials that I talked to tell me they want to refocus the messaging, but the president continues to keep posting.
All right, so Olivia, let me ask you, in addition to this feud with the Pope, we know that this all began, or it escalated, over the war in Iran. Where do things stand? The president keeps insisting that the Iranians want to make a deal, and I know that there are things that are perhaps happening behind the scenes, but so far, there isn't a deal.
No, there is no deal. And right now we do have this blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz, which is still a very dynamic situation right now. And the U.S. is also sending more assets into the region. So that kind of gives you a sense of what the U.S. is planning, at least long term, for the next couple of weeks, sending more assets to the region. But we are told that there are potentially some talks that could happen soon. We yesterday could report that there were some diplomatic back channels where the U.S. and Iran were talking through, and perhaps that's a positive sign, but no breakthrough development as of yet.
All right, Olivia, appreciate it.